science and AI and machine learning. Professor Christelle Scharff is currently working in the computer science department at Pace University in New York. She has extensive resource and grant activities that have taken her all over the world. She has done projects for Google in Senegal. She also has experience from her home country of France. So she definitely brings a global perspective to her research and also to her talk today. Please remember while she's speaking to mute your mic. Make sure that if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat or raise the hand feature so that way we know to get to you when it's time for questions. And be sure to fill out attendance. The link is in the chat. Before we get started, we'll just remember a few of our nice wellness activities that we've done over the past 2 weeks. Big deep breaths, making sure that we're calm, engaged, and making the most out of our screen time, and really savoring the moment. So without further ado, I will go ahead and turn it over to Professor Christelle Scharff.
Okay, great. I'm just putting my timer so that I know what time it is to not be too long. Hi, everybody. So very nice meeting you all, and thanks so much for the welcome from the global educators and from all of you today. It's very, very nice to see all these welcoming messages. So my talk, I'm just sharing my screen now. My talk with focus on the transformation of education through technology with a focus on AI, artificial intelligence, okay? So I will talk about, first give a definition, show you some fun examples, and then I have like 5 ideas that about AI and English education. And then I will just ask you to like just be a little engaged in answering 2 questions. And if there are any questions, you can always put them in the chat. And I think we have some time at the end for some questions. Okay, so yes, who I am, as Louise was saying, so I have a PhD in computer science. I did artificial intelligence, but theoretical, so lots of things based on mathematics and logic. I'm a university professor. I was twice a Fulbright in Senegal that I loved, and I lived on four continents. I even lived at some point in Cambodia for 1 year. And I'm an entrepreneur also at heart, and I created a coding school in Senegal. And I love languages, so you're professors of English or languages. So I love languages, natural languages, what we call, I mean, I'm not sure it's the terms that you use, but natural languages like, yes, French, English, and so on. I even did Latin when I was at school, but also I love programming languages, Python, Java, and some others. So we have things in common here. So I will begin with a talk with defining AI, okay, and artificial intelligence. And you may have watched some movies, and you may have seen in science fiction movies what is AI or where it's going. So back in the days, there was a movie, and I think it's 1981, there was this 2001 Space Odyssey. It's a very old movie, but in that movie already you could see a lot of things about AI. There was a robot called Hal, and he was, you could interact with him, and that robot wanted to take over the Earth. And that's a science fiction movie, but at the same time, I mean, right now, what is happening, we have robots, we can interact with them, but they are not taking over, and they will, in my opinion, never take over. And I will tell you why during the talk. There are also some other movies like AI. It's a movie about creating a robot, also about, it's a little boy. And that robot, the designers, they wanted the robot to have some feelings. And that's what is very difficult to give to robots, feelings, because that's really a human characteristic. And the third movie, it's Her. And Her was a movie about falling in love with a computer. And in the movie, they say an operating system. And it's a nice movie to watch while the hero of the movie is falling in love with that computer and then realize that no, there's no way they can have a life together. And that the computer is in love with lots of other humans. So it's just very interesting to look at this perspective, in fact. The other thing is that in your real life, you're already facing lots of AI activities, in fact. So when you use your snapshot and that you have this, you can change the filter, that's already AI. Because the filters, in fact, they look at your face and they're taking like lots of information from your face. So you have to know also that each time you're using these apps, in fact, you're sharing data with the social media company, Facebook, Instagram, and you name it. And so they take like lots of information about the form of your face, about the form of your eyes, and so on, so on. Okay, so this is already like being able to recognize your face. Where is your face? Where are your eyes? And then put like some kind of things on your face on the top of your image. It's AI. But where did it start? It did not start with Facebook, Google, and so on. Okay, all research and all really big revolutions, they start with researchers. And it started in 1956. That's when the term AI was invented. And it was invented by Marvin Minsky. Okay, so you see that's 1956. They're young, but they already look old because of how it is today. And this picture is black and white, but these are the 10 people who, in fact, influenced so much AI since then. And so they had a meeting, they had a meeting at Dartmouth College, and they wanted to work on making sure that on artificial intelligence problems. And what happened there? They found that in 2 months, they will be, in fact, solving all problems. And the problems they wanted to do are the following. Every aspect of learning or any feature of intelligence can, in principle, be precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate. So if you can describe it, some form of intelligence or some form of learning, in fact, you can simulate it by a computer. And they found that they can solve that in 2 months. Conclusion, in fact, even today, most of the things that are linked with learning, linked with intelligence, we cannot solve them. So they were very optimistic. And in fact, now we know that they failed. They failed in that, but they so much advanced the field, however, with small breakthroughs. So intelligence, it's difficult to define, but there are like lots of different forms of intelligence. We can even talk about behavior intelligence or emotional intelligence, but there's intelligence when we learn. We already saw that term earlier, because learning is where, in fact, AI is going. In fact, it's how do we learn? How do we handle complex situations? It's also intelligence, solving problems, determining what is important, taking decisions, reacting quickly, understanding a visual image, processing and manipulating symbols to do a proof, for example, or to do some mathematical things. Be creative and imaginative, that's intelligence. Make sense of ambiguous situations, it's intelligence. Communicating, that's also intelligence. Showing emotion, that's intelligence. Playing music, it's intelligence. So now we can see that human can do all of this. Computers, they cannot really do all of this. So let's look at the definition. And when we talk about artificial intelligence, we always want to like make the comparison between the human and the machine, the human and the computer. But lots of the time also they focus on the thought process. They look at behaviors and they look at rationality. So what is rational? But so back in the days, in 1956, the definition was, and it still is, the construction of computer programs which engaged in tasks which are, for the moment, more satisfactorily accomplished by human beings because they require high-level mental processes such as perception learning, memory organization, and critical reasoning. That was 1956, when they wanted to in fact, solve AI as a whole. They wanted one machine to solve all the problems of AI, all the problems of learning. They wanted to look at, yes, how do we create computers who can learn? But now the definition is about learning also, but in very specific situation. So we started in AI with a very general problem, but in fact, right now there are breakthroughs, but they are for very specific problems. And most of them focus on machine learning. So machine learning, it's making the machine learn. And the most common example that is given is how do machine learn to recognize images? So your images on a social media, is it a human? But also like the examples that we see all the time, it's is it a cat or is it a dog? And that's called machine learning. It's called, in fact, what we call supervised learning. And I will come back to this term again to show you what it is really. But right now, in AI, most of the problem focus on images. And in fact, we're going now at the limit of this even. So we will have to go in other directions. Okay, just wanted to put things in context. And that's what is supervised learning. So I took this picture online on Unsplash, and it's supervised learning is when you teach a machine to recognize very specific thing. And that's the same thing that we learned. When we learn when we were children, we look at a book and our parents tell us that's an elephant, that's horse, that's a chicken. And now we know what it is, but that's how we learn, in fact, okay? And that's how, in fact, we want to teach the computer to learn. I will show you an example about like, yes, how do we make a computer understand what is a cat and what is a dog? But the computer does not know what is a cat and a dog. Okay, for the computer, it will be only the form. Oh, this looks like a duck, then it's a duck. And I don't know what is a duck really, but I know that the form of a duck is something that I can recognize. Okay, so that's where we are. That's called supervised learning. And also, I talked about like computer vision, about images, but another area that is very important in artificial intelligence is conversation, is a language processing. And we want to be able like to recognize what is written, and we want to be able to recognize what is spoken. And when there's a test that is called the Turing test. And when we have a conversation with a human, we know it's a human. But here, Turing, who was a very famous mathematician, he proposed a test. And the test is to recognize, am I talking with a human or am I talking with a machine? How long does it take between the moment you start talking with a machine and the moment you discover it's a machine and it's not a human? Okay, so in 1950, Turing, so that's long ago already also, he wrote a paper called called computing machinery and intelligence. And he wanted to test if we could recognize that a machine or a human is speaking. So Turing predicted that by 2000, a machine may have a 30 chance of fooling an interrogator for 5 minutes. So you probably know about chatbots. The chatbots, when we do a conversation, chatbot means chatting, but comes from robot. And in that test, in fact, so we're chatting Imagine with a chatbot, and I will show you a chatbot afterward. And we want to know, okay, we hope it's a human behind, or we want to fake that it's a human. But in fact, even right now, the conversation you can have with chatbot, I mean, it's obvious it's a machine. And what we would like to have, it looks like a human, and that we are not there yet. 30% of chance of fooling an interrogator for 5 minutes, even now, we're in 2021, we are not there, okay? Yeah, and I do also a demo of Alexa and so on, and we will see the limitations. Okay, so applications and foundations. So let's look at some applications. So it's a tree, the AI tree. So at the top, we have lots of areas that are explored in AI. So if you work in AI, you work on some particular area of AI because it's very wide. So you could look at more in details. Okay, I want to work on speech understanding or natural language processing. So when we talk about natural language processing, it's mostly text. Or I want to do voice recognition. Or I want to build a personal assistant. And all of this is very specific. Or I want to work on games like chess. Okay, how do I make a computer play chess? And how do I make a computer play Go or some other games that are popular in your country? Then computer vision, we looked at this, recognizing an image, and augmented reality that I will also touch upon. And so there are other things here. Also autonomous vehicles, yes, because that's what we look in the future. So AI means artificial intelligence, yes. And the foundation, okay, there are lots of things. So there's computer science, but there's also mathematics, there's also robotics, because AI is also a lot like the vision we have first, it's robots. But philosophy, because we need to understand also if what we are doing is right, it's ethical and so on. Even as researchers in computer science, we have to think a lot about this. Neurology, why? Because we need to understand also the human, how the human think, how the human learn. Psychology also, biology and so on. So lots of areas are in fact touched upon by AI, and we could do a lots of things that are, how do you call that, interdisciplinary. So now I want to show you fun examples so that you're you're really engaged in this talk. So let's look at the cool examples of that. Some of them are done by Google. So okay, quick draw. So quick draw is, so you will, basically in the background, there's what they call a neural network. That's with the same terms as, you know, in the brain, there are neurons. And the computer science terms is also neural networks. But so here's an example. So I'm putting that in the chat if you want to interact at the same time. And then it asks us, okay, draw an eye in 20 seconds, okay? And I'm drawing an eye.
I see rainbow. Oh, I know, it's eye.
Okay, and here, the software is recognizing what
I see diving board.
What we
or
are.
postcard.
what
Or
we are
pillow.
drawing.
Or table. I see mailbox. Or hammer. Or axe.
So it does
Or
not recognize
paintbrush.
my.
Sorry, I couldn't guess it.
So here we are drawing something, and the computer is recognizing what we are drawing. Okay, and as you can see, it does not. I'm passing this. I'm passing this one also because I don't know how to draw that. Okay, draw a flower. So we're drawing something. The computer will try to detect what it is. Okay, here.
I see cherry.
Flower.
Oh, I know. It's flower.
Okay. It was very, very quick in.
I see water. Oh, I know. It's toe.
So it was very quick in recognizing some of these, but in fact, it's because 50 million drawings are there in their database. So it does not know what it is, but it's it just Google collected like lots of drawings like this. So they asked, even when I was doing the game, what happens is they're collecting and they're saving what I drew, and now they're like refining their algorithm with more data. Okay, because so what is super important in artificial intelligence is data. Okay, so that's one of the fun examples. You can interact with it. I have some things also related to what you are doing. So here it's like examples of, and I hope you see my screen. Here it's examples of lollipops. So you see that, in fact, 124,000 lollipops were drawn. And then like here, we know what it looks like. Another example, it's, teachable machine. Yes, teachable machine. Also, you can go to the link. It's also an example of Google. So they try to like have some fun examples online, such that, and sorry, I did not put the HTTPS. And so here I started it this morning. Yes. So in teachable machine, if you go online, you need to upload pictures. So here I decided I only want to recognize dogs and cats. And that's, I can add also other classes, but basically what is the algorithm based on? They're collecting images. There are tons of images online. We are giving so much images away. But here it's only for cat and dogs. So I took like 5 pictures of dogs, 5 pictures of cat. It's important that the data set is balanced. If I have more dogs, my algorithm will go more in recognizing dogs and so on. And so what is happening? So first you have the data. You need to have data. And sometimes we don't. And that's the issue lots of the time. So here I'm training a model. So basically there's an algorithm in the background. And what they are doing is they're building a model. And now I will be able, so you see like it's going through some iterations. And now it tells me, okay, and I forgot to take my my cat, it's not a real cat, my toy. But here, in fact, it looks at me, as you can see. And what does it say? It says, I'm a dog. Okay, so that's all it can say. It can tell me, if I put my picture, as you can see, I put my picture here. And in my picture, it only can tell me I'm a human, but that algorithm can only tell me if I'm a dog or a cat, because that's how it works. Okay, so that was teachable machine. So that's why I want to say that artificial intelligence is still limited these days, because here algorithms, they permit to us to just categorize things with what we have. It cannot tell me I'm a human. It cannot even tell me I'm a woman, because it does not have the information to do so. Okay, so I will just close that. Okay, maybe I should. Okay, now I will just do the input off. Yeah. So teachable machine is another example, and then you have SketchRN. that you can also try out. I think I did it here. And Sketch RN, in fact, will complete your drawing. So here it tells you, what do you want to draw? Okay, I would say I want to draw a butterfly. So I'm beginning to do the butterfly. And it does it. I have my hands here. It's finishing the butterfly for me. Okay. So here also it's very interesting to do that. So yeah, okay. And so it's a butterfly, but here I need to select what I want to do, because it will not do it by itself. It needs, okay, now it's finished the drawing. And that's also based on lots of data that were collected. But here you see that I need to select, I'm drawing an angel. If I just don't select that, if I select angel and I want to draw a butterfly or a cat, I mean, it will be, it will not know, it will be lost. So that's why I want to tell you about the, how do you say, the limitations of AI right now. So another example in art, what we can do, we can generate things, in fact, with AI right now. I mean, it's like these are very interesting advances. And what can we generate? We can generate, in fact, from a picture. It's a picture of a dog, and we can generate a painting, like it's on the below. And maybe we want the painting to look like a Monet or to look like another kind of artist. And we give the computer lots of art pieces from Monet with a painter. And we give the picture of this dog and we say, okay, can you make it look like Monet? And the computer will do that for you. So here also it's like some other art on the right generated by a computer using artificial intelligence. So that's what we can do right now, generate new things. And I will even show you a more scary example later. And here, because you're English teachers and professors, so what is interesting is you can give lots of text to computers and they can generate new text for you. And here it's an example of a text that was generated by a computer and you can read it. But it was, we gave the computer here in this example only Shakespeare writing. And the computer generated some text. And as you can see, but how long have I heard the soul of for this world and show his hands of life be proved to stand. And I mean, some of it is like, it looks really nice, in fact, in reading. It may not make sense in terms of everything, but some of it does a little, and it looks like maybe Shakespeare, if you're an expert. I'm not an expert of Shakespeare. But just to show you that we can take like lots of text, give it to the computer, and now tell the computer, okay, we would like to have a dialogue between two characters and on a particular topic, and the computer can generate it. Okay, so that's like amazing where we are going. So these were some fun examples. I encourage you to look at them. This link is like the coding of it. Even the coding of it right now, it's not that long. In fact, it's TensorFlow. It's a software by Google, and it permits you to do that. But however, things are becoming like easier to do, but we need to be very careful and think about what we are doing. So that's why researchers, they have the responsibility of think about ethics. So some problems, that arise in AI. So this is there's an article. I don't remember the name of the researcher. So she was a young researcher at MIT, and she was using some face recognition software, and from the biggest companies, IBM, Microsoft, and so on. And she's a black lady, so she's 23 years old. She's black. She's a female, and she was using this software to recognize a face, and some of this software could not even recognize a face, that there's a face in the picture. And some of the software could not even recognize she was a woman also. So, but no face, you see, like they could not recognize the face. Microsoft software could not recognize a face. Face++, that is also, I mean, it's well known in our area. No face were detected here. IBM detected a face. Keros detected a face. And then IBM detected a male. Keros detected a male, not a female. Okay, so these algorithms, I mean, so then she wrote a study that finds gender and skin type bias in commercial artificial intelligence. So the software worked very well for white people, but did not work very well once you have like a darker skin. That's a real issue. So lots of bias exist in software. And as you can see, it's software written by the biggest companies. So these are some things we need to change. And at the end, I will tell you a little bit about how we need to do that. Okay, I put the video so you get the slides also, and you can watch the video about where she talked about, where she talks about this. We have no time to watch the video. Now, you know, researchers, they really looked at lots of researchers looked at face recognition. And here we see another paper. And in this paper, they said that you can infer the criminality using face. This is completely wrong. This was an outrageous paper. It was published. It's still available online. And it says that, okay, if you can see at the top, these are pictures of people who are criminals. And at the bottom, these are people who are not criminals. So they use data, pictures, and they say you can know if, based on their face, you can know if they're criminals or not. And so, no, you cannot. They have a big bias in their pictures. If you look at the picture at the top, their pictures are from people who are really not smiling at all. And in fact, the picture at the bottom, in fact, were people who have a little smile. So their research tells us only that they can recognize people who are smiling or not smiling. Okay, but it does not tell us anything about criminality. That was published, that was like, this is outrageous, in fact. Okay, and so as researcher, we have really that responsibility of not publishing and not even engaging in research that does not make sense. So there's what we call, in fact, it's all this research looking at the form of your face to look at if you're something particular or someone particular. This does not make sense. The history told us that we should never do that anyway. Now, another example, there's at some point, Microsoft released Tay, and Tay was a chatbot. And this chatbot, in fact, was released and people were chatting with it. And then what happened? There were racist and misogynist comments by the chatbot. So you cannot interact with the chatbot anymore because Microsoft removed it. And even after that, Microsoft released another chatbot, and it was again removed from the web because it was also not going in the right direction. So here also, big companies making like big issues. Now, be aware of some things also you can see on the internet. Like here, you have some picture of human. In fact, these people are not humans. These pictures were completely generated by a computer. Okay, so there's a website. It's called This Person Does Not Exist. And each time you're going on the website, here, this is not a person. It's not a real human. It's just a picture that has generated. So this can be used to create a fake Facebook profile. So you think you're interacting with this person, but in fact, you're not. Okay, they tell you it's generated with a technology called a GAN, generative adversarial network. Okay, so no, it's not a person. So how do you know? It's very difficult to see that it's not a real person because these pictures are so nice and you don't see like, okay, some particular things on the pictures that let you know that person does not exist. Okay, so be aware. And even more scary, there are what we call the deep fake videos that are also done with lots of videos. Here, if you watch this video, in fact, let's just watch the beginning of it. I hope you will hear the sound.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time.
Okay, so here I'm stopping here. So it was the voice of Barack Obama, the ex-president of the United States. And here is his face. And if you are not looking careful, you can think it's Barack Obama, but no, it's not Barack Obama. You can see a little with the face, how it looks like. Also the white spots, sometimes some problems with the video. That's where we can detect that it's a deep fake. Here, here, here. And just overall, here is his face here is not really looking the way he looks like. And in fact, how was it done? There's some software out there that you can do that.
Jordan Peele created.
But it's this person. So this person did a video where he was telling what Barack Obama is saying. And then there are like tons of pictures of Barack Obama online. So what they did was, okay, let's take all these pictures and then we put them on the face of this person on the right. And you can see here, even when I pause, like this is not the face of Barack Obama. So we can create this, but we need lots of pictures. We need lots of videos also to like match and max and mix. So, okay, so that's something that we do all the time. We're giving tons of pictures online, on our Facebook, on our all our social media. So it's because we have all these data are there that this exists. Okay.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make.
And so you can see a big deep fake of also other actors and so on in that video. So you'll get the slides also. So now, of course, we need to put things in place so that this does not happen, that the technology is there. There will be always people using it, not nicely, but we want to have like thinking in place for researchers, for people who are building this algorithm to be able to think about the right thing to do. So the first thing we need is representative data. If the data are unbalanced, so in the algorithm of Microsoft, probably there are more pictures of white people than black people. So that's one of the big issues. So we need like, now there are much more of awareness of this, but that's what we need to do. Also, in lots of countries also, there are not so much data available. So we need to have more data available also and have policies also to put in place. Now, the other thing is we need a diverse workforce. We cannot have only researchers who are in the US, for example, who are white, a white male in particular, because that will create also, because they will create algorithms for themselves. They need to be more open. We need to have much more people understanding diversity. We need to have more people also trained in AI. Then also the algorithm. Sometimes it's an algorithm which is not which is also not correct. So as a computer scientist, AI expert, we need to be sure that we have algorithms that make sense. And also digital literacy is important because everybody needs to be able to understand that what you put online can be used by hackers and so on. It's used by Facebook, and we never know what is Facebook doing completely with our data. So or even our mobile network, what it's doing with our data. So be very careful of that and be aware. And there's a lot of things to do in digital literacy. Okay. So technology is great, but we always need to have some things in place to make it be used only for the correct reasons, basically. Okay, so the part now of my talk, I want to talk about some ideas for you to use AI in your classroom, and some of it you may know and some of it you may not like. So I think you will be able to discuss a lot of things on this. First, translation. Translation is AI. So you have this website like Google Translate that your students are probably using. So you ask them to do something and they go to a website, they do a translation. The translation are not always completely correct. We are still doing lots of process in translations. But here I just wanted to show you another website. It's called DeepL. DeepL because we use one technique called deep learning. That's learning with a neural network. And it's one of the best translator. But so your students, they probably will use a translation, but what you can like tell them instead of looking at some of the translation and that are not very good, and maybe they can contribute in making the algorithm better. Like we could do even in Google Translate. Sometimes I'm not satisfied with the translation I get, so I'm submitting, okay, instead of this, I think it should be translated that way. So this is a more active process. So translation is the first idea. Now speech recognition, yes. So you already mentioned in the chat Alexa, Siri, and so on. But it can be used to.
Sorry, I don't know that.
And that's my Alexa. And I want to that is speaking. So I have an Alexa. Each time you say it, you just get on. But it permits to check your pronunciation also. Okay, I'm not a native English speaker. You know, you heard that. My husband neither. So sometimes we use it to test our pronunciation. So let me just check here. But there are lots of limitations also with Alexa. So let's try. Alexa, what time is it?
It's 8:53 a.m.
8:53. I hope you heard. But now I will ask a question for Alexa that I want to take the train, and if she can tell me how to get there. Alexa, how do I get to Pace University?
Sorry, I couldn't find what you're looking for.
Sorry, I could not find what you're looking for. Yes, because Alexa needs a lot of help to be able to answer my questions. Okay, but it's good to talk to her, like having like chit chat and asking it to give a joke or something like this. So that can be a really nice activity also. Oh, the video also we have no time to watch it, but they also, even if you are in a room where there's a lot of noise, in fact Alexa will pick up what you're saying. So here each time I need to like do this when I have a video. Oh, and now I wanted to talk about VR. Oh, okay, I did not have a slide because I wanted to only 5 ideas. I did not have a slide on mobile apps and so on. And I'm sure that you probably looked at some mobile apps for teaching. Here is one particular app. I'm just mentioning it because it's people I just interacted with in the last month. And it's called Aeon XR. It's a mobile app. It's like a Moodle or like maybe you know other like learning management systems. But instead of being like just posting text and posting videos and so on, you can even like see things in 3D. So you could like teach like the planets using using that application, and in particular, in fact, here, as you can see this picture here, we are in a house, and here it's there's a table, but on the top of the table you have the planets here, and you could have like the names of the planets, and you're moving, and you can see still see it. They have like some lessons for secondary education, like introduction to mathematics, what is earth, or what's the form of an earthquake. So all of this is like very visual that you can use. That can be also interesting for to support your class. There are like probably other apps also that does this, that do this. It's just one of them. So VR is virtual reality, and also sometimes people have these glasses to do virtual reality, either in yes in cardboard or in plastic. And the fifth idea, I think it's on the fourth. Okay, it's a fourth idea of ask students to create a chatbot. So here you could like pair with a student within computer science, with a professor in computer science, because a chatbot. So basically, a chatbot is it's a conversation, and I know that. So here, my idea was more like to mix coding and English. So we had an experience with Armen. In fact, to do that, we did a course on English for cybersecurity. And the students, so they learn about what is cybersecurity, and then they did also a dialogue that they recorded, they acted it, and so on. So here the idea is to create a chatbot. So a chatbot is a conversation. The student can write the text in English, and then they code the chatbot. I will show you a demo because I'm in the process of doing this with some students. They created a chatbot, and there are some software that are like really drag and drop rather than anything else to do that. So let me see, I'm sharing here. That's what the students are doing. So it's not completely finished there yet. So they had to build a chatbot for a program, and they're high school students, and they're in their first year of high school, and they design a chatbot which is Stop Illegal Immigration. They're from Senegal, and so I will show you how it works. So it's a Facebook page. They're in the process. It's due on Wednesday. And then I will interact with the chatbot. So the chatbot is here on the right at the bottom, and it's Get Started. I click on Get Started, and then it says, hello, Christelle, I'm Sim, Stop Illegal Immigration. I will teach you about illegal immigration from Africa to Europe. Are you interested to learn more? So basically the students, they wrote the text in a document, and I proofread it, and I asked some other people to proofread it. And then they use Chatfuel to implement it. And I will say, okay, yes, I want to know more. And then in fact, you have some options. What topic do you want to learn about? Then they wrote a complete story. Ibrahima's story, which is a story of a young boy who is taking the boat to go from Senegal to Europe. What are the causes of illegal immigration? What are the consequences? And what are the risks and the way of traveling? So here, they are not done. So I just know that they have the causes done already. So if I click on causes, then it will say there are many causes. Let's cover some of them. And then if I click on economic, And then it gives me information about the economic causes. Many people in Africa live below the poverty. They wrote all of this, and okay, they need to still work on it. They wrote all of this. They used some references, of course. It was proofread, but they have a very nice story about Ibrahima, who is forced by his father to take the boat, and they did it by themselves. Okay, and so here we are. And then it says, okay, do you want even to watch your documentary? If I say yes, I will be redirected to a YouTube video. So that's what they did. And so they have done that. So they're high school students. So writing this type of conversation, yes, you need to either, they are not English speakers also, so we needed to proofread it and so on. And I also do sometimes programming games with very small children, even from elementary school, where they have to invent a story then they code it in Scratch. So elementary students, they will like just write very small sentences and so on, but it's a very good exercise because it's like makes them also invent something and then they create the game. So these are like, this is also like an example. Sorry, I wanted to click on present. And the fifth example I wanted to talk about, so this is not about completely how you would use it as a teacher, because it's more, we have tons of data that are collected in education. And for example, you know, all the learning management system, the grades are data. The ages of we want to know like the age of the students, if they are in rural areas, their grades, all of it is saved somewhere. But what are we doing with this data? Sometimes the government is not using them, but some companies are asking school to use some software. And then if you have lots of data about lots of students, you can like create some algorithms that will personalize the learning experience of the learner and have better learning outcomes. So how is that done? Like you can detect that the student did some different exercises and automatically as a teacher, you will detect, oh, this student has problems with grammar and conjugate verbs. So you will like add a problem for that student to do that. So the software could do the same. On the fly, detect where are the problems of the student and propose new exercises. That already exists, okay, in some software. But it doesn't, here also we have very few data outside of the US. In fact, in the US, lots of schools are using learning management systems, so the data are there. But in other parts of the world, it's not so much used. So we are missing data from there. And that's also one of the big, it's also a problem of ethics and about going further in an inclusive world. So here there's a report by UNESCO that was published, I think 2019, as I wrote here. It's called Artificial Intelligence in Education, Challenges and Opportunity for Sustainable Development. And they have different examples, and especially they have one of M. Schule from Kenya. And it's a platform that has all the national curriculum on it. And to adapt to the context, the exercise and things are sent by SMS to the students. And now they have so much data that they can track and analyze learner performance, and they can share the result with the parents. They can also make recommendations and saying, okay, your child is doing good in math, but now we need him or her to improve in Kiswahili, and these are the things that the child need to work on. So data is super important. So what we saw is that to do artificial intelligence like it's today, it's like learning, it's focusing a lot on learning, and it's focusing on data. if we don't have the data, we cannot do any AI. And the data can be text, pictures, videos, and you name it. And we need all of this. We need all of this from everywhere in the world. For now, the Western world, the North, I would say, is having a lot of data. And from the South, we have much less data. So we need more inclusion. Okay, so this is like the end of my talk, and I would like to give you also, to ask you just to contribute. So I created a Mentimeter, and I just will give you the link. So let me just open it here. And so that's how it looks like. I'm putting it here in the chat. And the question I would like you, so how do you or will use AI in your courses with respect to what I showed you and what you know? Do you have any ideas? So just you can write something and submit it, and this will be saved in Mentimeter, and I will be able to then share the answer with you. And another Mentimeter that I also, one sentence about this presentation. So what did you learn? What excited you? What are your, what do you wonder for next, etc. So these are the two Mentimeters that you can you can submit, contribute to, and then I will see if I can see the answers. Okay, I'm putting the two again here. Just suggest you have it. So there are two of them. I could not manage to do one, put them together. So you can do that, and so there were lots of things in the chat I did not get a chance to follow while I was talking, but now so thanks very much for your attention, and I'm open to questions. So if I take a question about the chatbot, they are very cool for students. Is it easy for elementary students? I would say no. I would like really end of middle school and high school to be able to program them. It's not really programming. It's more of an interface where you drag and drop. Doing the thing, basically it's a if then else, a tree, you're building like a tree, but it would not be adapted for elementary students, in fact.
Crystal, would you like everyone to write questions first and then we can just choose an order, or just would that work? So if anyone has a question, you can write it in the chat box. First, we want to say that was incredible. So if you're not clapping, please clap for Christelle, because she just shared so much knowledge.
Wow.
Okay.
That was incredible. So everyone go ahead and write your questions in the chat, and then we'll go ahead and then try to get to everyone's question.
Some people are writing in the Mentimeter, some are writing in the Zoom. Anywhere you want to write. But do you want to share the Mentimeter with us, or the responses, Christelle?
Oh, yeah.
And then we can go through the questions, but it could be interesting.
So that's how it looks like when you put your answers. I hope you see it. Yes. I have heard about this concept in the past, but I had never learned about the tools like ChatFuel. Thanks for this opportunity. New translator site and AI site for using a class. The deep fake news and videos. We should pay more attention to develop our future about the deep fake news and digital literacy. And they like also drawing tools that can draw itself by itself. Yeah. That's the first one. This is the other Mentimeter. Okay. The other one was beautiful session. I will use Quick Draw and learn to use chatbot in my classes. Art question. Painful razor. I like the drawing app the most and will try it. I asked students to create VR tools of different English speaking placing. Yeah, that's super interesting. Yes, AI will help me facilitate my class and make learning more meaningful for my students. Gathering data, writing and speaking activities. We watch 360 videos. Yes, exactly. Yes, that's cool to know how it's used by you already. I also go to Jurassic Park and compare dinosaurs. Yes, that's super interesting. I'm thinking I'll talk about the media conscience relating to the fake AI. Yeah. Lots of digital literacy needs to be done. I mean, that's one area, the deep fakes, but there are so many things that are happening that are not okay. And digital literacy in terms of fake news and so on is very important. Teachable machine, translator, drawing images, chatbot. How can they be trained for cybersecurity? Yes, media. And just make a student aware of all the data that we share out there and that we don't know how they are used. And because we are only clicking when we install an app, we say, okay, yes, yes, yes. We're never really thinking about it because we want to use the app. But we need at least to be aware. I mean, I know some of the consequences, but I'm still doing it. So we sometimes we just need the app. We say yes, but okay, what is done with the data? You know that every picture or so you put and every post you put on Facebook, I mean, can be used by anybody. The picture also, so does not belong really to you anymore. Do you, so I'm taking some of the question. Is that okay?
Yeah,
I
think
read
that's
the
fine.
question and
You can just read out a question, or do you want them to actually ask you the question out loud? Either way.
maybe some of you can ask a question aloud.
Okay, great. So we could just call someone. I know Shoida had a question about children. Shoida, are you here? I think you can unmute yourself. Shoida Sharipova.
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, just I was asking about how we can use these tools with in teaching elementary students.
Okay.
Elementary.
Thank you.
Elementary. So using VR glasses, sometimes it's not appropriate also to very young children. There's also the physical security of the children, but maybe show them some translation already, interacting with a speech recognition software. That can be like most appropriate. The chatbot, I would say writing the chatbot maybe not. I mean, doing dialogues, but I think that you're doing that for, you're already doing that. But for elementary, otherwise the Scratch that I did not put in my presentation, that is also, that I tried like at least 3 times with elementary children that worked. I can add that on the slide to show you a little more about this.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome, Shoaira.
Great. If anyone else has a question, you can just raise your hand. Mandobe, I see you have a question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Professor Scharff, for your brilliant presentation. It was really wonderful, and we've learned a lot. So my question is, we're in a developing country, and we face what we call numeric gap. We are not evolving in the same pace. So using this technology might be very challenging for us as English teachers. What can we do to overcome this challenge or these challenges? Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question. So lots of these things that I showed are even not used here yet in schools, even in the US. Access to computers is not, it's not happening in all schools in the world, even in the US, and especially with COVID also, this created a bigger, in fact, digital gap. So it's really of, sometimes it's, we have to like, and I'm sure that's what you're doing. Even me, when I don't have the resources of doing something, I'm trying just to use my imagination and seeing what I can do with very little that I have. It would be like, we were talking about like Alexa, but you can use your Google phone to do that. So your Android phone, you can always ask it to do the same with OK Google, and that can be already done. So all of this can be, we can try to adapt them to the context that can be sometimes, yes, very, very challenging. But even, yes, doing a translation, like showing the translation on a mobile phone instead of having every student with a computer, hooking up the mobile phone on one computer if possible, or with the conditions sometimes, yes, in developing countries, we have to be very imaginative, very creative in finding the solutions. And hopefully also at some point there will be more, I mean, it needs also to be, yes, in the case of Senegal that I know more, like we need some new policies and more focus on using technology within the classroom.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even mobile phones are forbidden in our classes.
Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Mandobe.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I saw Brenda had a question about vocabulary. Brenda, would you like to unmute and ask your question, please?
Yeah, how do you use like vocabulary? How would you teach students, primary students, by using AI? Something simple.
Really, like here, I have no idea about what to do in that area. I don't know. I really don't know. So I'm a computer science professor, but also I believe, however, and all my example, all my work that I'm doing, it's a lot interdisciplinary. So what is great is sometimes the technical people, they have the technology, but they need to apply it. So that's why pairing with an English professor, it can be like really great, like what we did with Armen last year with cybersecurity, English for cybersecurity, because like you as a teacher of English, you know, yes, how do you teach English? Me, I don't know how to teach languages which are like English, but I can just help with some of the technology side. So I could not answer your question, sorry.
I saw that there was 2 teachers in the chat box, Winda and Farah, were talking about using something related to bots. So I don't know if Winda or Farah has an idea.
And I see also some ideas on
In the chat
I mean, here it's an answer, yes. Click and draw can be helpful to teach new vocab terms. That they can like discover, yes, the term, and at the same time they're drawing it. And sometimes as students, yes, are visual, that can be really a good tool.
Wonderful. I think a lot of tools, we may not know how to use them, but once we start experimenting, we find new ideas. And a lot of it is just experimentation. There's no one answer.
Yeah.
So, I know Vanessa also before commented about how she uses VR in her class. Vanessa, would you like to share about how you use AI in VR?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hi, Christelle. Loved your presentation. I love to talk about AI. And in my classes, I try to explore that a lot. They're very young. They are 7 years old. And I'm giving classes online, which is very difficult because I don't have but they have been using these videos, the 360 videos. So they look around and they find a shark under the ocean and small fishes. And so I asked them, what color is the fish? What size? Which one is bigger? And so they really liked it a lot. I explore left and right, comparative, superlative, colors, and they love it. And another thing is I try to ask them not to translate into Portuguese, which is our native language here in Brazil. I try to ask them to visualize so they don't always keep going back to their language, you know. So I teach them like a whale. So this is a whale under the ocean. So, what's whale, teacher? You don't know? You look at the picture. This is a whale, not a baleia, like Portuguese, you know. So they use Google Images a lot. When I finish a unit, everything they have learned, because they don't read or write in English, and because you're not alphabetized fully yet. So I try to give them at the end of the unit a picture dictionary, which I Google the images and they help me out. So I type the words for them and they see the images and we pronounce and we repeat looking at the images. So by the end of the lesson, they have like a sheet of paper with all the images, all the vocabulary, the new words they have learned. And so I have been using a lot of this technology, and they are, you know, very enthusiastic about it. It's very fun.
That's a superb example of what to do with VR, and so for small children. And that makes me think again about the, supervised learning, because what you're doing, it's what these algorithms are doing. What is a whale? That's a whale. What is a fish? That's a fish. And so it's really, really cool. Yeah. Thank you for explaining to us your process.
And excuse me, can I share about Quizbot?
Of course, Winda.
Okay, I use another device and I will share screen. Wait a minute. I hope it won't take long. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, now I'm going to invite you. I mean, you can see my screen now.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the Quizbot. Here's the quiz board I prepared for my I train teachers, and Afera, she is my moderator. Here you can see it's on last April. This is the quiz board, and you can make quiz board in Telegram. You can see here what emoji best describe Indonesia as a country, and then yeah, you can make quiz board, and then the quiz board will show the statistic of the quiz. And for the next global conversation for kids, I think I can show you how to use Quizbot in Telegram, and the topic is about emoji. Well, I think that's all. I will stop sharing my screen. Okay.
Amazing, Winda. Yeah, I took notes of it to look at. I never used Telegram, but that sounds like really cool a cool activity.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, Professor. That's very fun.
Mm-hmm.
And students, teachers can have a lot of fun using Telegram. Era, you can share a little more detail.
I think you've got it covered, Linda.
Okay. I know Tiao had a question about AI and applications. Tiao, do you want to ask your question? Unless that I think it's fine, but Tiao, so you can unmute her. Yeah. Oh.
Congratulations to the professor. I really appreciate the presentation. But as I said a while ago, and as also my colleague Mondobe said, we are lagging behind as far as technology is concerned. So we are not, I did not really get most of the point that was developed here. It was a little bit tough for me. But anyway, we're gonna try it. My only question is if the professor worry about perhaps the negative consequences that could be derived from this, as far as nowadays fake news is a prevailing, is gaining ground, fake news. So what if, for example, children or youngsters use this abuse of this, giving fake news, because people are more and more doubting about information that are given. So what could derive from this if ever everybody is trying this new technology? Thank you.
I mean, if I well understood the question, I think it's young people need to, and even like not young people, everybody needs to be educated on how to detect yes, what are fake news or not, and what are the negative effects of technology, and to be aware. Once you are aware, at least you're a little like more equipped. But lots of people right now, you know, are believing lots of the things they see. During COVID, there were so many fake news, especially, I mean, I know the case of Senegal, and some of it, like, if you make your research, you will be able to detect that they are fake news. But that's a skill also, be able to make research and be more critical about what you read. And I mean, even in English, as an English professor, or if you're a language professor in general, I mean, reading text and be able to teach students, to talk about some text they see, and that's very important. That's what I can say to answer your question. I hope that I answer it. Maybe not. Sorry.
No problem. Understand.
Thank you, Tao. Thank you, Christelle. Just checking in if anyone has any more questions. There was a discussion about WhatsApp and bots. I don't know if you have any comment on that, Christelle.
I mean, yeah, it's not like what we saw in Telegram. This does not exist in WhatsApp. It's the same I showed you the Facebook one, the Facebook chatbot done by a student. We could do it in WhatsApp, but it needs a little of programming. But maybe there are some other tools out there. So we focused on Facebook and on ChatFuel because that work very well together. And the students were high school students.
Great.
Okay, I saw that.
Are there any other questions or ideas people want to share? Wow. Christelle, I think you've just given us so much to think about. I know that I'm still like processing and I have a whole paper full of notes I wrote down to look up further things. You've just introduced so much to us. So there's a feedback form for Christelle in the chat area. If you want to go ahead and fill that out, please make sure that you fill out the attendance also. And if there are no other questions or doubts, I think that we can go ahead and detach ourselves a little bit from the idea of machines and do a deep breathing. So we'll go ahead and do that to close. We all got some great activities. And Armin, you want to lead us in a straw breath, or would you like me to?
Yeah, I'll lead us with something cool. I just want to thank Christelle again. I want to thank everyone who's here with us today, because the more we share, the more we learn, and there's no one answer to technology. There's answers, and everyone's answer is different, and that's completely fine. So whatever you heard from someone today, we want to encourage people to share. Maybe you can create something with your class, maybe not. It's fine, but just keep sharing ideas, and that's the way that everyone learns. So thank you. Let's clap again for Christelle for waking up so early for us. Thank you, Christelle. Wonderful. Okay, I'll show you a cool one with the hands and the breathing. You remember the ocean breath, you know? So we'll just do that same ocean breath. Okay, but move myself. Make sure there's nothing near you. I don't want to hit the wall here. You're going to have your hands at the sides of your body. Okay, and we're going to breathe in with that ocean. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then breathe out at the count of 6. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see the pillow behind me. Okay, breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. And breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Do like 2 more. Breathe in. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4, and then breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. We'll do 1 more. Your eyes closed. Breathe in. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep your eyes closed. We'll just imagine for a second, whoever we have as our students, whoever we're working with, imagine them with your eyes closed. And imagine them using some technology and smiling and being happy and speaking or learning English. Take a big breath and then breathe out. You see that happening. You're doing that. One more time. Breathe in. You see them smiling. And you breathe out and they're learning. Okay. Rub your hands. Put them on your eyes. We like learning about technology, but we don't want to be on it all day. So we're so happy once again that you came. You can, I don't know. Think about that. Whatever you imagine, you'll create. So let's imagine something that we want to create and let's do it however we can. So thank you once again, Christelle. Thank you all the great teachers. I see Alice is clapping there. I hope you got to see some nice things, because technology and the imagination is the same thing, right? Someone imagined all that technology. I like James said something like the brain and neural connections is the same as technology connections. So it's all the same thing. So I think that's it, right? Louise and Christelle, is there anything else you want to share? Or we're good, right? Everyone give Christelle feedback, please. She's an amazing professor at a university here in New York, and she just, all Christelle does is give her love and technology and explaining that to others. So we're very lucky to have her with us today. And she may be with us on Tuesday. So if you want to learn more again, join us on Tuesday. Thank you, Christelle, for joining us. Maybe we can get a little photo of everyone together who wants to. I don't know. What do we want to do? Like a symbol, like everyone typing or something?
That's
Whatever you want to do. Or hold up a phone. Okay, whatever you want, but something related to technology. So you can pretend whatever you want to do or just smile. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm typing with one hand. Okay, keep typing. Okay, we have the other ones who are non-faces, but it's fine. Okay, well, thank you so much. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you, Arman.
Yeah, get away
It
from the
was
computer.
amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if anyone wants to give feedback, you can tell Christelle now.
Thank you.
I did.
Thank you, Armen. Thank you, Louise, for having me. And
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So,
I've learned so much.
It was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
I
so
have
much
learned a
and God
lot.
bless. Keep safe,
More to
everyone.
say.
Thank you.
And also about
Jere Jeff